Hello everyone, a warm good morning to all of you. Would like to welcome to all to this session of YouTube channel. I hope you all are good, fine, and we doing well. With this continuation of international politics, we are going to discuss the balance of the power and the collective security, the two concepts which related to your international politics as provided in your SSC political science syllabus. And before switch to today's discussion, I would like to highlight the objective of the session. Now, first thing, to develop an approach how to crack the question with regard to international relation, because when it comes to our examination and it is a competitive examination, and to crack the competitive examination we need to develop an approach how to crack the question with regard to international relations. Then second thing to highlight the way the question is framed. Okay, most of people are only study but they don't know how to study for the examination, because we have a tendency to study for our master and to write a lengthy paper, but this thing is not going to work in the case of competitive examination like MCQ paper. We need to highlight the way the question is framed, where the question is framed, how the question is framed, and how to we prepare. Then third thing, to interpret the previous year trend and expected trends. When it come to what need to study and what is the direction to regulate our study. And I will say, if you ask me, then the key mantra to go and look the previous year trend. So previous year question is a guiding principle to help you to conduct your study. Say for example, uh, a researcher conduct their study through the help of hypothesis. Okay, without hypothesis the study is meaningless and directionless. Similarly, in the case of a competitive examination, to crack a competitive examination, the main weapon that you should remember and you should analyze the previous year questions. You cannot neglect the previous year question, because previous year question is key to study and initiate to the study. So in this note, the third point talk about to interpret the previous year trends and expected trends. So with these three objectives, I would like to start our discussion. First, the previous year question, what is in store, and what are the things we need to revise according to our previous year question. So without delay, let's start. The first question before you, it was a previous year based question, that who was called as a father of the balance of power of 19th century. ଯେତେବେଳେ କ୍ୱେଶ୍ଚିନ୍ଟା ପଚରାଗଲା, ବହୁତ ପିଲା କ'ଣ କଲେ, ବିସ୍ମାର୍କକୁ ଚୁଜ୍ କରିଦେଲେ। ବହୁତ ପିଲା ବିସ୍ମାର୍କକୁ ଚୁଜ୍ କରିଦେଲେ। तो बिस्मार्क इज नॉट आंसर। जो सस्ता है वो होता नहीं है, लाइक दिस इज अ स्टेटमेंट। सो बिस्मार्क इज नॉट आंसर। द आंसर ऑफ दिस क्वेश्चन ऑप्शन बी, द मेटरनिच। ओके, ऑप्शन बी इज द करेक्ट आंसर। एंड आई हैव ऑलरेडी attach a explanation before all of you. Let's see, let me change the pen first. Okay, let's see. So there is a no as such mention the Metternich is a father of balance of power in 19th century, but as per the our interpretations, his great contribution to Vienna Congress, okay, Vienna Congress, as a chairman and consort of the Europe, which is known as the center of European balance of the power and idea of equilibrium, can be considered as a balance of power 19th century. So during the time of 19th century, Metternich, one of the scholar who has a great contribution to study of the balance of the power. Say for example, Vienna Congress, contribution to Vienna Congress and concept of the Europe and idea of equilibrium. From there, the different house of the thought consider him as a father of the balance of power 19th century. To him, there is no fair distribution of the power, but equilibrium is a concept of the European balance of the power where flexibility of ideology can be noticed. So according to Metternich, what is the balance of power? And there is no distribution of power. There is no fair distribution of the power. Some states are have the higher amount of power than other. And how balance of power take place? Now according to him, equilibrium is a concept of European balance of power. Equilibrium will be helped to ensure the balance of the power. And for example, European bloc against Russia in Ukraine war. And most of people confuse the Bismarck as a father of the balance of power 19th century. He also had a great contribution to the 19th century balance of power, but as per answer key, Metternich would be the appropriate. So according to our answer key of the paper, Metternich would be the appropriate, though Bismarck has also a great contribution to the 19th century of the balance of the power. So from here we come to a conclusion that Metternich is considered as the father of the 19th century balance of the power. Then now next question before you, The principle of the balance of power aim at what? Option A status quo, option B equilibrium, and option C war, and option B disequilibrium. So what is the correct answer of this question? Option B equilibrium. So equilibrium is a principle of the balance of power. If they ask the question what is the objective of balance of power, now it is the status quo. Okay, balance of power, sometimes it criticizes status quo, but if you really interpret, the balance of power is dynamic. It is always changing in natures. A balance of power meaning for today will be not as a tomorrow, because it's determined according to the circumstance and according to the scholars interpretation and different thing. So for the best answer you can go for equilibrium. The principle of the balance power is equilibrium. Then next question, which of the following is not considered as element of national power? Okay, element of national power, obviously option D, party system is not part of the element of national power. Then prisoner dilemma is a phenomena that fuels. Remember, I have discussed with you prisoner dilemma in game theory class. So prisoner dilemma related to arm race, I have told to you. Okay, option A. Then next question, what are the devices for the maintaining the balance of power in international politics? What are the devices? So option C is the correct answer, that alliance and counter alliance, compensation, buffer state, and armament and disarmament. These are the devices for the maintaining balance of power in international politics. We will discuss in our subsequent theory. Then what are the outstanding example of the collective security system in modern times? Option D is answer, United Nations and NATO. Okay, NATO and United Nations, they are the example of the collective security in the modern times. Next question, how has EHCAR derived the elements of national power? So even I am also not sure about the answer of this question. I will let you know in subsequent class, and as I marked a star question, this question is a star question, I will let you know in subsequent class. Okay, the next question, in terms of theoretician and theory, identify wrong pair. Hans Morgenthau, political realism, we all know. Richard Snyder, the decision making theory scholar, yes. Alexander Waite, constructivism scholar, yes. But Kenneth Wells is not new liberalism, Kenneth Wells is a new realism. So this is a question of your 2023 PGT. Okay, so PGT 2023 paper, and you can see that how this type of question was asked, and accordingly you need to prepare. Then next question, identify the wrong pair. Again same kind of question. Okay, same repetition. Hans Morgenthau, political realism, correct. EHCAR, 20 year of crisis, correct. Hadley Bull, anarchical society, correct. But Richard Snyder, as we discussed already in the last question, that related to decision making theory, and hence it is incorrect because it is not related to game theory, Richard Snyder. Then next, your name of the author, the study of international relations. So obviously the answer of this question, option B, that is how Quincy Reed. Okay, Quincy Reed, the author of book study of international relations, and in this book he talk about nationalism, imperialism, and collective security. Collective security, imperialism, nationalism. So Quincy Reed talks about this thing in the book, the study of international relation. So Q Reed wrote a book, study of international relation. There he discussed nationalism, imperialism, collective security. Okay, collective security, imperialism, nationalism, very very important. Then next questions, that identify the intangible element of the power. When we talk about the element of power, there are two type of element. One is intangible and another one the tangibles. Okay, tangible elements and intangible elements. Okay, so in your intangible element, the ideology will be comes. Okay, ideology will come. Similarly in intangible form of power, ideology, leadership, moral, quality of the diplomacy. Okay, we will discuss what is the intangible and tangible in our subsequent class. This is how you need to remember that the intangible and tangible form of the power. Then the system by which the state attempt to prevent the war is known as what? Obviously the balance of power. Balance of power ensure the reduction of the war. Okay, option C is the answer. The next question, who gave the 8 meaning to the balance of power? It's a UGC December 2023 UGC December 2023 questions, that who gave the 8 meaning to the balance of power? Option A Napoleon, B Bismarck, option C Ernst Haas, and option D Metternich. So the correct answer to this question, option C, Ernst Haas provide 8 meaning to the balance of the power. Then, what is the subtitle of the Anarchical Society? We all know Hedley Bull wrote a book, Anarchical Society. Now, this question framed in such a way which is going to very interesting, that the subtitle of Anarchical Society. So, this kind of question was asked in your UGC net, but not in our SSB lecture. But in this way, you can remember the things. Okay. Option A, study of order in politics. Option B, struggle for power and peace. And option C, the handbook of Black Revolution. Option D, ecclesiastical power. So option A is the answer, the study of order in politics. Okay. The what is subtitle of the Anarchical Society? The study of order in politics. Then theory of the balance power we will quickly discuss. Theory of balance of power, then collective security. Okay. So now let's understand about the balance of the power. Okay. So we have already discussed the question regarding balance of power. Okay. So balance of power and its question has been discussed by Oj. Now the time to discuss about the theory part of the balance of the power. Okay. So let's get start the theory part of the balance of the power. Okay. So what is in our store, that under the balance of power we need to discuss the thinker, the concept, principle and books. Okay. So these three things need to discuss, that the thinker, concept, principle and books under the balance of power we have to discuss. Okay. So let's see the first, the what is balance of power. When we talk about balance of power, it's the main thing we have to understand, what is the concept of balance of power. So it is a concept of realistic to international relation with objective to reduce the possibility of the war by enabling arm race, security dilemma and idea of mutual destructions. Okay. So balance of power means what? It's a concept related to the realistic school of thought. So if I talks that the balance of power related to which school of thought, then it's the realistic school of thought balance of the power, and that main objective to reduce the possibility of war. Okay. I can give an example here. India and China, in the current situation, there is a less chances to war between India and China. Why? Now because of the balance of power, and this balance of power reduce the possibility of the war, because here both the power have the capability to balance to each others. Like India have a nuclear weapon, subsequently China has also the nuclear weapon, and they have the capability to balance each other. Okay. So that is how it reduce the possibility of the war. Okay. So reduce the possibility of war by the help of the balance of the power. How? Now through the arm race. Okay. Say for example, China develop any kind of nuclear weapons. Okay. Let's skip China. Let's see the Pakistan's. So if Pakistan develop any nuclear weapon or armament, definitely India will also develop the nuclear weapon. So this is how, through the arm race, through the security dilemma, the balance of power prevail. Okay. So these are the mutual destruction also, or the security dilemma, it's parallelly work with the balance of the power. Don't you think so? So that is the idea of balance of the power. ठीक अच्छे. Then we will see the definitions. According to Morgenthau, balance of power is a maintenance of a general social principle. Okay, what is the balance of power? Now it is a maintenance of a general social principle. That it's a social principle. How it is a social principle? Now because in the international is a social order in which to maintain a general principle, social principle, the balance of power is required according to Hans Morgenthau. And Morgenthau in his book The Politics Among Nations, a struggle for power and peace, define a four meaning to the balance of power. So if they ask the question, who provide the four meaning to the balance of power, that is your Hans Morgenthau. Okay, Hans Morgenthau. Why this thing is going to important for examination, will let you know. Okay, let you know next Ernest Haas, okay, Ernest Haas in his book The Balance of Power define 8 meaning to the balance of power. So here Ernest Haas in his book The Balance of the Power define 8 meaning to the balance of power. How many meanings? 8 meanings to the balance of the power by Ernest Haas, okay, by Ernest Haas. So this is your UGC net 2023 December questions. So in your December cycle they asked that Ernest Haas, that who provided the 8 meaning to the balance of power, it's the Ernest Haas. So there could be asked that who provide the 4 meaning to the balance of power, the answer would be Hans Morgenthau. So Hans Morgenthau provide 4 meaning to the balance of power. Very nice. Okay, so this is very very important. Then moving to the next, Professor A. Pollard consider balance of power means maintaining the equilibrium. So they can ask a question that according to whom balance of power means maintaining equilibrium, or which among the following is a principle of the balance of power, then you need to remember equilibrium. Okay, so equilibrium is a principle of the balance of power. बहुत बढ़िया. Okay, so when we talk about balance of power, it's our primary objective to see the origin of the balance of power, from where the balance of power originated. Okay, so let's see the origin of the balance of power. The Treaty of Utrecht. So Treaty of Utrecht first formulated the concept of balance of power in 1713. Okay, so in 1713 the Treaty of Utrecht first formulated the concept of balance of power. बहुत बढ़िया. Okay, so you have to remember that the Treaty of Utrecht related to the balance of power. Balance of power means the Treaty of Utrecht. Very nice. Then balance of power is a realistic assumptions. Okay, so as I already said you, the balance of power is a realistic assumptions. Okay, then what are the divides of the balance of power? We will quickly see the divides of the balance of power, that alliance and counter alliance. Okay, alliance and counter alliance, the device of the balance of power. What is alliance and counter alliance? Say for example, in the time of Cold War there had been a multiple alliance. Say for example, your the NAM one alliance, Seattle is alliance, example Cento is alliance, NATO is alliance, Warsaw Pact is alliance. So these are alliance for what? To counter each other blocks, to counter each other alliance. That is how the balance of power. The alliance and counter alliance is a device to maintain balance of power. Then compensations. Compensation in the sense, say for example, A state attack to the B states. Okay, A state attack to the B state. In the compensations, you have to provide what? You have to provide. Who will provide? International community will provide, United Nations organization provide, civil society will provide different thing to the state who will defeat in the compensations. जदि मुझे कहबी इज्राएल गाजा, तो गाजा जति वार रे हारी गला तो डिफरेंट स्टेट कौन करिए कंपेनसेशन रे प्रोवाइड करिए का गाजा को बहुत जिन प्रोवाइड करिवे. सो इन दैट वे द पीपल विल ट्राई टू हेल्प द गाजा इन ऑर्डर टू बैलेंस to the Israel. Don't you think so? That is how compensations. Okay, then buffer states. What is buffer state? Buffer state, say for example India and China. Who is the buffer state between India and China? China and India, Nepal and Bhutan. So Nepal and Bhutan is considered as a buffer state between India and China and India. That the buffer state also a means to balance the power, maintain the balance of the power. Don't you think so? Then armament and disarmament, different treaty agreement by time signed and approved in order to maintain the balance of power. Say for example, treaty like your NPT, PTBT, okay, CTBT, okay, then SALT, then START. These are the treaty which help to maintain the what? The balance of power by establishing the armament and disarmament agreement. Okay, then intervention and non-interventions. Okay, for intervention the best example would be the USA. Wherever there is a struggle, wherever there is a war, USA always interfere in this war. Be it your Russia-Ukraine war, be it your Israel and Gaza war, be it your the Vietnam war, everywhere everywhere USA try to intervene, and this intervention also create balance of power. तो तुम गोटे एग्जांपल दे पारि एठे जदि आमे कहबा लाइक द चाइना फिलीपींस को अटैक करिया पे बढ़िला, से फॉर एग्जांपल चाइना वांट टू अटैक फिलीपींस, तो यूएसए विल ट्राई टू इंटरफेयर in the matter of Philippines because USA had an agreement with the Philippines. So in this interventions, the China will never go for the attack because the US will be interfere, and if US will interfere, there will be a chance between US and China war. So that will be a problem because both have a nuclear power and both have a like superpower in the world right now. So this is how the intervention also one of the way or device to ensure the balance of power. Then divide and rule. Divide and rule is also device of the balance of the power. So you have a notice read the device of the balance of power, and how the question will ask. They will simply ask the question that which among the following is a device of the balance of power. Then you need to remember now these are the basically means to ensure the balance of the power. Now I am going to quickly see the types of balance of power. There are mainly two types of balance of power. One is internal balancing, another one is the external balancing. What is internal balancing? Arm race, increasing in military equipment, that is our internal balance. For example, our government has increased the budget for the defense armament, for the defense ministry. So that is how, for what we are talking about increasing in military equipment, we are talking about arm race, that is how internal balancing. Then external balancing, we talk about alliance building. Okay, we talk about alliance building in the sense that we have an alliance with other states. Say for example, external balancing, like we have a quad. Okay, we have a like the different thing. You can take the example NATO. Okay, you can take example of the different alliance. So that is how also non-aligned movement is one of the alliance. So this is how alliance building, that is external balancing. Okay, NATO in the sense and quad also. Okay, these are the external balancing when you create alliance with other states. Okay, then balance of power and similar concept, that security dilemma and the mutual destruction, these are the concept parallelly go with balance of power. So balance of power parallel go with the concept like security dilemma and mutual destruction. So we can say that if there is exist balance of power, there will be a availability of your security dilemma or mutual destructions. Don't you think so? So that is how clear, and this is all about your balance of power. तो मुझे कही पारिबी तमर यही जो टेबल अच्छी, ये टेबल रू ही आगामी दिन में क्वेश्चन आसार बहुत चांसेस अच्छी. Please make it note that from this table you will get a number of questions in your upcoming SSB lecture or PGT examination. That is how I can tell you. Okay, get it my point? Then now moving to the next, the collective security. What is collective security? So collective security is a counter idea to the balance of power. So balance of power is a realistic school of thought, and collective security is a part of the idealism school of thought. As we know, Woodrow Wilson, the originator of the idea. So who is the originator of idea of the collective security? Now Woodrow Wilson. And the principle of collective security, that one for all and all for one. Okay, one for all and all for one, the principle belongs to the collective security. Getting my point? Then UN Charter 7 define the concept of collective security. So UN Charter also talks about the concept of collective security in which chapter? In the 7th chapter. So your USA UN United Nations 7 chapter, your United Nations 7th chapter talk about the concept of collective security. Very very important. So here we have to remember the UNA chapter 7 talks about the concept of collective security. So what is collective security? Collective security means what? There is a principle that one for all and all for one. If one state attack to the other states, if anyone attack to any states, if that state is a part of any bloc, that will be considered as what? Na the attack on all. Say for example, United Nations believe on collective security. If you attack randomly any other states, then United Nations will consider now it is attack on all states because they believe in human rights. Similar concept also in NATO. Okay, in the concept of NATO, that they talks about collective defense. Okay, your collective defense. So that is how collective security we can in the modern day we can see in NATO and United Nations and NATO. Okay, Then Organ-Seek define the 5 basic assumption of the collective security. So there could be a question that who define 5 basic assumption of collective security, that you need to remember Organ-Seek. Okay, AF Organ-Seek define the 5 basic assumption for the collective security, very very important. Then the George Eschanger's, okay, George Eschenger, it basically defined the collective security as a machinery for joint action to counter any attack against an established international order. Say for example, the United Nations believe in idea of human right, and that is a established international order, and if any one attack on this established order, the machinery or the joint action will be any to counter the attack the state who attacked the established order. That is how the George, I could not pronouncing the name, okay, you will do your own, that the person talks about the definition that can be asked. And he also wrote a book, Power Politics. Okay, and do remember the George S, I will read it, George S, a part of realistic schools. If they ask the question, George Fasanger is part of which school of thought? Is realistic school of thought. Okay, so this is all about your collective security. If they ask the question, that you need to remember, collective security is a principle of idealism which is originated by the Woodrow Wilsons, and United Nations chapter 7 believe in that idea. Okay, and in that way you have to remember also the George Sessions what they seats Organ-Seek define 5 basic principles to the collective security. So that is how the clear cut idea we have understanding the under the collective security. So guys, this is all about from my side with the topic of collective security along with the balance of the power. With respect to our SSB lecture and PGT, we have discussed the previous question with the theory. I hope now nothing is going to be asked beyond these things. Okay, whatever question will be come in your examination, you will be able to provide the answer with a very surety. So that is all about from my side. And lastly, not the least, if you like my effort, do subscribe my channel and do share with your friend, because if you single person will share with your single friend, that will help to me to achieve my target of the 500. And do you know that if I will achieve my target of 500, then no one is going to stop me to let you achieve your target. So that is how my guarantee to all of you. And this is all about from my side, and thank you everyone for being part of this session and providing a lot of love and lot of support. Thank you so much.